Well, good morning, Buckeye Nation, as we stand high above Ohio Stadium, the Horseshoe down in Columbus, getting you set up for what has the makings of being a really great Week 9 matchup between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Anthony Moeglin here alongside my partner, Kevin Woidke. And Kevin, for this one today, a huge day for Ohio State as they've had to sit with just a horrible taste in their mouth for the last 2 weeks, as it's already been those 2 weeks since they fell to Oregon out in Eugene. And today they have the opportunity to wipe the slate clean and get back to their winning ways this afternoon against Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, this is a battle of two blue bloods in college football, and I mean, maybe not as of late, but they're getting there. I mean, my buddy built Nebraska into a pretty strong dynasty in NCAA after only a couple of years, so they're poised and ready to go. Shout out Adam. But I think that it's kind of a get right game, but also like, all right, let's shake the cobwebs off. Let's get out there, attack somebody, and take some anger out on somebody.
And I tell you what, I feel bad for the Nebraska players who are coming in here today, because they're going to get a angry, nasty Ohio State group. But for Ohio State, the same can be said for Nebraska. They're coming off of an embarrassing 56-7 loss out against Indiana in Bloomington last week. And it's proven that, hey, Indiana's legit. But also Nebraska's got a long way to go. While they're playing much better, they come into today 5-2. They still have a long way to go, and today will be a nice measuring stick, I think, for both squads. For Nebraska to see how they compare to the upper echelon of college football, and for Ohio State, we hinted at it a little bit. You didn't think you'd hear this in the 2024 season, but this game will be a nice measuring stick to compare them to the Indiana Hoosiers, who we will see here in a couple of weeks. So, Kevin, getting into more of the nitty-gritty of the game this afternoon, maybe what's a matchup that you're going to have your eye on as you watch Ohio State take on Nebraska this afternoon?
Yeah, I think on both sides of the ball, my eye is going to be on the defensive backs. I think Nebraska, their defensive backs haven't performed super well this year, and I think that Ohio State, coming off of last week, they need to do better. I think it'll be interesting to see how much they lock in on both sides, how much they lock in and have to be better than they have been, at least for 1 week for us and for most of the season for them.
Yeah, and I'd say on our side of the football, right, like the Ohio State defensive backs, you're talking Denzel Burke and Davis Igbinosun, they got challenged for the first time all season 2 weeks ago out in Eugene. And while they tried to step up to the challenge, Denzel Burke, and he'd admittedly say it himself, fell a little bit short. So a good opportunity for revenge for that defensive secondary here this afternoon. And for me, my eyes are going to be on one matchup that guys may not be going directly against each other, but it's Will Howard and Dylan Raiola on the other side. The two quarterbacks who both come into today with actually very similar stats throwing the football. They've thrown for a similar amount of yards, similar amount of completions. However, Will Howard's found the end zone a little bit more than Raiola on the other side. And Will Howard has yet to consistently turn the football over, which is a very good sign. But for me, I'm going to have my eyes on both of the quarterbacks today to see which one steps up to the plate. For Raiola, this is his biggest environment that he's ever played in, for sure. He was a former Ohio State commit. He's one of the biggest stars, young stars, I should say, in all of college football. So it'll be exciting to see him in action this afternoon. One guy to keep your eye on when Ohio State does have the football is, and everyone will have their eye on him, is Jeremiah Smith. That superstar freshman is on the cusp of setting some records, setting some Ohio State records here, as he's just 2 touchdown catches. Lost my spot there. He's 2 touchdown catches, 96 yards, and 10 catches overall from setting the Ohio State all-time record for each of those categories. So that's something that could be done today. It would take a pretty great game from the freshman, but that's certainly not out of the realm, as we've seen Jeremiah Smith really pop off in some of the games to this point. So, Kevin, as we close up our pregame show here, currently the line is set, whatever book you use, the line is set somewhere between minus 25.5 or minus 26 on some sites, but also the over-under set at 48. So, Kevin, what's your prediction for this afternoon's game?
I mean, if they still had Coldest Crawford, I might have a different answer, but he's now at Louisiana Tech. I think I'm going to take the I'm going to take the under because I think we're going to hold them. I think the defense is going to have a wake-up call. But I also will take us to cover because I just don't think they can hang with us on the defense side of the ball.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think we're going to see a nasty version of this Ohio State Buckeye team today, especially on the defensive side of the ball. It couldn't have been a fun 2 weeks as the conversation around the Ohio State Buckeyes has been, hey, you messed up in Oregon, and you've had to kind of live with that. So I'm excited to see the urgency that comes from the defensive side of the ball. And then on offense, continuing to execute. They've been playing really, really well. I think from a score prediction, I got Ohio State 45. Nebraska, I think, sneaks one in the end zone late after maybe an early drive. So I got 45-10 Ohio State over Nebraska. I will say this with one asterisk. I'm one of the coldest bettors in all of America right now. So do with that information what you will, but certainly excited for this afternoon's action. So, Kevin, before we get out of here, any final thoughts coming from your end up in Cleveland?
Good question. One, always bet responsibly. Got to throw that out there. And number two, I think that this might be some of the loudest boos that you're going to hear in Ohio Stadium outside the Michigan game because I don't think that anyone's really forgotten what Rayola committed. Said he was coming, then committed to Athens, and then came to Nebraska. I think he's going to hear it when he first runs out there for his first drive.
Oh, there you go. There you go. We can't get out of here with asking one final question to you, Kevin. How's G. Scott going to play today?
Oh, G Scott's going to absolutely dominate today. I can smell it. It's in the air. I took one sip of my coffee. I'm like, if I, can't do it in Ohio, but if I could take G. Scott multiple touchdowns today, I would have put the mortgage on it.
You said it's a G. Scott Saturday. Well, we sure hope it is a G. Scott and a Buckeye Saturday here. As you can see behind me, it's a picture-perfect October afternoon. It's hard to believe it's week 9 here, but from a weather perspective, couldn't get much better. You got that fall chill in the air. It just feels such like football. And we're going to have an awesome matchup coming for you here shortly. Kickoff is just about an hour, 2 hours away, coming to you at noon on Fox. But excited for this matchup here as Ohio State takes on Nebraska. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to come to you live right after the game here with not only a post-game show just like this one, but also we'll have all the coaches from the podium. We'll have all the players for media availability. So a ton of content coming your way after Ohio State takes on Nebraska. We'll also have you loaded up on our website, si.com/college/Ohio State for all things Ohio State as they get set to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers today at Ohio Stadium down in Columbus.